Zachary Rupp. I teach at MSLA, the teacher-led school in Denver, and also upcoming treasurer for Denver Classroom Teachers Association. I think it was well represented of the things what the strengths that MSLA has, and what we're trying to do as far as rethink what we're in terms of the situation in Denver and public education at large, about rethinking the school day, rethinking how we approach learning, and the way that Lori set up the example of set up the conversation around how we started the school about first you have to build the child and who is the child you're trying to serve, and then what are all the things needed to be able to serve that child for a world that we don't even know exists. That statement is really, really huge, and one that's missed a lot in a lot of educational conversations, especially around education reform, with the people who are trying to drive that conversation, that are whether they're education minded or not.
Is this a model that's working for you, and you think we should see more MSLAs in Denver and Colorado?
I think I love the idea was amazing. It attracted me to the school in the first place, and I loved it. I think it's a great concept. And I think how we're approaching that concept is really good. What I'm afraid of is that there's this underlying feeling from a lot of people in the innovation discussions that replication is the answer. Once you find one thing that works well, how do we recreate it? And that's the error, and that's immediately what's working against what we're trying to do. Where here's one example to approach it from a different perspective. It's about the timing and the people and the resources that got together in the perfect storm to allow that to happen. And how do we find those opportunities in other arenas within education, so that the same similar concept of people coming together to create a new idea, but that the idea itself cannot be replicated in the same way. The thing, not to come from a deficit point of view, but I think as positive as this convening was, I think one of the big issues that was missed is the context. There's a lot of context missing around the elements of what we're working around, the concepts of extended learning time or extended learning opportunities, how we're rethinking the school day. When you're talking about teacher effectiveness, there is sometimes the assumption that we don't have effective teachers and that we need to create effective teachers, versus how do we identify the teachers that are doing great and amazing things and then help them share that with other teachers. And for that conversation around shared accountability, which is huge. And I think one point that was probably missed in the whole discussion tonight was teachers holding teachers accountable. As well. So it's not just always about administration, but how do we support administration so that these kinds of opportunities present themselves and that they can be taken advantage of in positive ways for the kids. But I think the big issue that was missed is context around when these situations work well, what is that's allowed them to do that, and how are they doing it in a way that's conducive for teachers to feel happy and successful in their job. So since that clearly tonight was mentioned as one of the key elements of retaining a teacher is job satisfaction, and then looking at the other elements of what plays into that, including pay.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I'm glad to be part of this tonight. It was good.